damn it. There we go. We are live. Welcome to Gamers Health. I am one half of the Gamers Health live stream, Eric Tenkar. And with me is my lovely wife, Rach. And we do have a topic for tonight, of course, dealing with the negativity and the RPG hobby and beyond. And I would have put and beyond, but it just wouldn't fit in the thingy. It just wouldn't. I tried.
Right, I guess, and beyond could be,
And
how...
to infinity and beyond.
Well, I guess also, like, all the different parallels that we have, like, in our life outside of gaming.
Yeah.
The bigger picture.
So, but I figured, listen, we had drama. We had the emergency urgent situation with Rachel's knee, which Paul and TXG, welcome. So we're going to kind of recap the Rachel's knee situation.
The Rachel drama.
And then I had a doctor's appointment this week, and we can go over that. And by the way, this is how I deal with stress. Today I spent the day with my old gaming group.
Nice.
My gaming group from high school and college. We gamed from 85 through 97. And then I went into the academy and that got fucked up. But police academy. But then we started playing MMOs like EverQuest and Anarchy Online, City of Heroes and Conan and all that other assorted crap. But even when that stuff ended, we decided after 9/11, and we lost a friend in 9/11, that we should do an annual gathering. We've been doing that for years. So, but at this point, I turned the baton over to Rachel, because Rachel is the one whose medical issues had us. I won't say shitting bricks last Saturday, but
a little worried,
Yes.
Like, it kind of sucks when you can't stand on two legs.
When your knee goes, pop goes the weasel.
Yes.
It's not a
no.
So we did not go to urgent care on Sunday.
Nah, I kind of decided to wait because I felt a little bit better on Sunday. I was able to move around a little bit more and have less pain, weight bearing. So I said, okay, this is good. We're kind of on track. I'll just reach out to my own ortho on Monday to see if I could get in there. And unfortunately, there weren't any appointments.
Yeah.
So we have to wait to see him. It's a very busy practice. So
yeah, he's very good.
Yeah.
And he does surgeries and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he is someone that's very knowledgeable when you're talking with Dr. Filatus. He knows more than just his specialty. He is a very well-rounded, experienced orthopedist. So, you're in good hands. Regretfully, we couldn't get Rach into those good hands. So Monday we went to
the urgent care, and it kind of took time.
Well, it took time because there was a wait.
Yes. There was a wait, and then we had to drive to another location for the X-ray.
Right, because
only to be X-rayed the next day at the because they gave me.
Yeah,
we'll go through the whole deal. All right, so they wrapped my knee, and so I go for the X-rays, and then they let me know that there were no broken bones. Kind of new because it wasn't that type of broken bones before, and there's a certain pain that comes with it. So I kind of knew that. So they were like, "Oh, okay. Well, you could have torn your meniscus. We're going to send you to an orthopedist, and here's the one we have." Well, no, in their network.
They're like, we'll call you.
And so they were good. They called right the next morning, on that Tuesday morning, and so I took the appointment, and it was supposed to be for the 25th.
Did you cancel it yet?
I did.
Okay.
Because they sent the text.
Oh.
So I was like, all right, no, cancel. Yeah, so I didn't have to talk to anybody. Because I always had why, and la 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 la, all that you might hear.
Right.
Because I had seen a different orthopedist that Eric had found on ZocDoc.
Right, and Rachel's experience with ZocDoc and has been hit or miss. But I went into this because I was like, next Tuesday, a week. I'm like, a week? What are we going to do? We don't have crutches to put you in. So I was like, let me look.
Yeah, we threw out my child crutches from our wedding.
So I went and I looked, and I was like, okay, on ZocDoc, and I was like, all right, I'm not just gonna go and say, hey, Rach, I found somebody, and have it be someone who has, like, I don't know, 4 reviews. I was looking for people with 50, 60 reviews on ZocDoc, and I found one that had like a 4.8 or a 4.9.
Yeah, they were good. They were like sort of an urgent orthopedic clinic. So I went there, and of course I hadn't.
Same day. By the way, same day.
Same day.
This is on, this is
3:45 or 3:15, and so I was out by 4:00, and with a referral for physical therapy and some medicine, not the good kind, or what people think are the good kind.
Happy, joy medicine.
Yeah, no, this was like an NSAIDs, a prescription NSAIDs, and that you take it for 2 weeks. If it doesn't resolve, or like it, and do the physical therapy, because they saw arthritis in that knee, which I didn't know that knee had it.
Now, let's explain what. So when the doc saw her knee and he saw the X-rays, he asked her an important question.
Yes, he asked me if have you had pain like before the big pain came, or was it just out of the blue? If it was just out of the blue, I guess it would have been like, oh yeah, maybe you tore your meniscus, but something about like, he's like, because you have arthritis, and I was like, yeah, actually for several days I've been having pain in that knee and kind of wondering why, but it never had reached that point where I had to drag it back up the beach,
Well, he's like, well, that's apparently what it was. So he didn't order MRIs, which a lot of these doctors.
Yeah, I was happy that you didn't just jump on that.
By the way, I want to catch up on people. David, welcome. Shadow and Son, welcome. And thank you. I was assuming you're talking about the Arduin show yesterday. There'll be more Arduin on July 3rd.
Oh, cool.
Yes. And myself, Ben, Mike, and Glenn should have samples of those maps that are going to be offered in the Kickstarter. So we should be able to give first-hand reviews on that. And Don wishes you a belated happy birthday. Rach.
Thank you.
Just wanted to make sure I caught up on everybody before I forgot. So
yeah, and then as the week has progressed, it's gotten quite a bit better. I arranged for the physical therapy. It's supposed to have my evaluation and start it on Wednesday. And then just like yesterday was really great. Yesterday was great, and I was able to like do a little yoga, and my cars like for my joints. And today I woke up with more pain in the knee than usual. I also wasn't complying with medication last night for it, because I was like, oh, it's feeling better.
I want to save this shit for later.
Well, that's it. God forbid, it stick around, or like I have another kind of flare or something. It's good to have, but I guess I have to keep taking it until it runs out and take it as prescribed.
Oh, my wife's going to actually have to follow directions.
I do with every other one.
Well, yeah, but this one you're like, now, by the way, folks, again, I was hanging out with my old gaming group from high school and college. All right, and Rach, we knew about this, and Rachel's like, "Oh, well, this is yesterday. You can drop me at the mall tomorrow."
Yeah, I was
Uh,
feeling that good. I was like, drop me there and I'll just walk home,
and I'm like,
because I usually walk to and from,
right.
And that's not a problem. And it's just fun to take the walk and,
Now, mind you,
poke around.
today hit like 95, 96, some god awful temperature.
I mean, I didn't feel anything like that because I was in the house
Okay.
under the AC.
So
it's my money saver in the bedroom. That's where I spend most of the time.
I'm getting ready to leave to go out to this, to again like hanging out with my friend. And by the way, we don't game when we hang out. People are like, oh, you went to here? No. I come bearing gifts of gaming material every year. This year was what do you call it? Basic Fantasy 4th edition. And the Morgoth setting campaign stuff. Because I know they like to read this stuff. And we'll get to that. But
and then you just kind of catch up about
we catch up. We catch up in our lives. Watch stupid YouTube videos. It was great to watch the fact that like Brian has this channel as one of his save channels. And I was like, hey, that's the tavern.
Very sweet.
But Rach, I had to ask Rach. I was like, Rach, you don't plan on going to the mall today, do you still? And because I listen, and we both calling rank when the other person has to. I don't want to pull rank on you, because we're the same rank, but sometimes somebody has to be the voice of reason when the other person isn't being the voice of reason.
Well, he's older, so.
He's older. He's 4 years old. That son of a bitch. He's older, so I gotta defer. And I was like, Rich was like, no, I'm not going. I was like, oh, thank God. Because not only did we have heat, we had severe thunderstorm warning, but when we went out to go out for dinner, it's about a little bit over a half-mile walk from
yeah, we have a very poor air quality warning here as well. So I was worried about you being in that air,
Yeah, no,
but
I did okay.
Yeah, I usually do all right. I can tolerate. I can handle like the 93 walk to and from work, or when I was working. Or to and from.
Yeah,
like a mile or whatever.
TXG, have arthritis, just a touch in my spine and hips. That would act up. I was told in no uncertain terms, you're too fat, lose weight.
Exactly. And that's something that I need to do. So
we might all have to jump on that.
Yeah. We got to give these joints a break here. They've been doing this for a long time. I've been overweight for a long time. So
Don hit 96 out in Battle Creek. Heat index of 102.
Oh my God.
TXG, we don't keep track down here in South Texas. Oh, no, it's just hot, too damn hot. Are you effing insane? We've experienced, North Texas is in June, and our first year, we had to get a cab from one hotel to the other because we went to the wrong Marriott, and we got a cab driver from, you guessed it, New York City, Brooklyn, a Brooklyn Jew, Russian, and he was like, "What are you doing here? Why would you come from New York to come to Texas now?" And we're coming for a convention. It's like, I'm leaving Texas next week. I'm going to work the summer in New York. I was like, geez, okay. Texas gets damn hot.
Yeah.
Certainly does. So, but yes, good news with Rachel's knee.
Yes,
nothing broken.
There's improvement.
Nothing torn.
No.
Take the blessings that we can
get.
Yeah,
and just use the physical therapy and, all my resources. I want to talk to the oncologist about possibly taking weight loss medicine or something like that, see what they have to offer, because I've read different things about how the anastrozole can interact with the medicine for the weight loss, and if it would even be effective, or what you could do.
Don't worry, Rach.
But I have my dietitian's getting real strict on me. I have a dietitian from the cancer center, and she's like, "Yeah, we have to identify all those trigger foods." I was like, "Well, I eat bacon every day in Texas." And she was like, "Oh, that's one." Otherwise, and then of course, like if we get our big Buford, I only have a big Buford once a week. Big Buford's it's from the Chuckers, or was it Rallies?
Yeah,
in the other parts of the country.
Yeah.
It's damn and it's very nice. And it always has bacon. So maybe I'll just have to start ordering the big Buford without bacon.
Can't. Well, we won't hit the 2-for-1. I guess.
Then I'll be fucked.
because we get it with bacon, because it's a 2-for-1 on Uber. And
all right. I guess I'll take it off. I'll give it to you. I'll take it off and give it to you.
And then that way we hit the $20 point to get or $15 point, whatever it is, to get the free.
Yes. Okay. Not that bacon
the free French
did this to me altogether, but
sticks or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah, all of our processed yummies. But yeah, so and I was talking to her about the Mediterranean.
Hold on, Rach. Hold on.
What?
We need a screenshot.
Oh.
I gotta get a screenshot of the learned woman before I boot her ass, because apparently somebody is cross-dressing tonight.
Oh, would that be?
I don't know who is cross-dressing, but
I wonder if it could be like Vijay Punani.
Yeah. I just want for my own personal records, I like to keep this stuff in case I have to show it to a certain upstate attorney. I just like to make sure.
And did you throw our learned, wonderful scholar out?
Oh, they can come back as somebody else.
Okay.
It is. Like I said, it's somebody cross-dressing, which you don't hear about anymore, by the way. When I was
because it's more like, oh, they're that curious that they might identify as trans.
Yeah, but we had
they're that questioning that much.
Yeah, but we had members of the service that were married that were cross-dressing.
Yeah. I mean, it was a thing.
It was a thing. So, but hey,
it's a kink.
Hey, I feel validated. I haven't been trolled by a real troll. Not that this is a real troll, but I haven't been trolled by a real troll in a long, long time. I feel validated. It isn't just Don and Tom that get the trolls now.
I'll ask you after. What did this person say?
Oh, they're just putziness.
I'll ask you after.
Yeah. So I had a doctor's appointment this week. I had my cardiologist, and usually with my cardiologist, you have your exam, then he tells you to come on back, and you talk in his office. And this time we didn't even make it to his office. He was just like, he goes, everything looks great. He goes, when we did the imaging, it was good. He goes, your sonogram was spot on. He goes, your blood pressure, I was 118/70 or something like that. He goes, only thing we want to check is your blood work, and I want to see what the BMP is, and the BMP is a heart failure indicator, but he goes, we just want to make sure that it's still where it should be. Medication should basically keep it there, but it's still where it needs to be, so that's awesome. He did say, have you tried any of the injectables for your diabetes? And I explained to him that I was on Mounjaro for about a year, And I got off it because the insurance costs were prohibitive. Now I got new insurance; it's covered, but it was raising my heartbeat, my pulse, my was up by about 12 or 13 beats a minute. So
and I think we didn't quite realize that until after
you
stopped it,
and I saw it come down.
Yeah,
See,
so
sometimes
it wasn't something that you could just say to them, and then
right.
they'd be like, "Oh, well, that's okay. We can just give you more metoprolol."
Right. Well, so that's sometimes causality that doesn't always immediately make itself known. Sometimes it isn't always just adding something. It's like, but that increase in the pulse was something that was gradual, but the decrease was also gradual. But my watch tracked it, and I could see something that would not have been seen. Thank God for the Apple Watch. That's one of the features of the Apple Watch is to keep a history of this stuff. So he was like, "Well, listen, next time you see your endocrinologist, mention to him that I was interested in seeing if you could go on an injectable." He goes, "Because if you can and it's affordable," he goes, "I'm going to put it to you bluntly." He goes, "You need to lose weight. And this might be the way for you to lose the weight." And he goes, "And if your heart rate increases, when you notice it's increasing, you call the office, make an immediate appointment. I'll come in and I'll increase your metoprolol dosage. We'll up your meds. I can medicate that." He goes, "I can't medicate getting pounds off you, but the pounds off you is going to be the best medicine in the world." So he's an honest doc. All right.
Yep.
So
and that's the same thing with the cancer, like because and for both of us, because we're both cancer survivors, and now you know like having extra weight can increase your risk for cancer, especially like your hormonal related cancers, which men get too,
right.
not just women. But I saw fireworks.
We're getting close.
Yeah. So yeah, being able to address obesity, I think, could be a really big help for us both.
Well, the injectables, Rach, have one side effect that certainly could help with weight loss.
You're never gonna want to eat again because you're nauseous all the time.
Yes. The nausea, but that's okay. I've gone through it before.
Yeah. I don't even know if they'll say.
I
don't know what they'll do. I don't know what they'll do. Oh, we have this clinic.
No clinic. This is what I think of your clinic. By the way, Climbing That Mountain says he wishes I would yell Yahtzee when the trolls show up and make a game out of it. It should be a drinking game, really, is what it should be. I should have a shot of proper 12 just waiting on the desk, and it's like, oh, a troll, drink, But I guess you could say thankfully they don't show up enough to not only.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be a buzz. Actually, the alcohol would probably evaporate before I'd get my first shot in. So, thank you, Paul. Yeah, my blood pressure's been pretty spot on.
Oh, great.
I gotta say. And I do have to say, too, which makes me feel good, even though I've put on some weight since our last gathering this time last year, everybody said I looked healthier. That my posture was better.
The walking.
My walking was better.
The walking, that's from the walking.
Yeah. And also,
we've been, going at the walking pretty hard.
So when I was, your party moves at the pace of the slowest member, right? That's the whole thing we've learned in gaming. Is you got one of those gosh darn damn dwarves or halflings in your party, somebody wearing plate armor, you're going to be going at their speed. Well, they were going at my speed, and they're like, "Listen, Eric, you're going to pace us," because it was a half-mile walk, at least, to our venue for dinner tonight. And they were actually falling behind at one point. Like, what the hell is this? I was like, well, I said, well, one thing is I'm not wearing sandals.
Ah,
But the second thing is, I have, I don't have the plantar fasciitis this year.
that's true.
But also, Rach and I have been doing a lot of walking. Not much this week because the weather has not been cooperative. And if you have a dog, taking your dog out in the hot weather when you have pavement is an injustice. Okay, that black top.
The black top where the paths are.
Yeah, you can fry an egg on it, and that's not what your doggy wants.
So, I mean, obviously we're going to have more warm weather in summer. But yeah, we're looking at taking it, and my leg has also been dodgy, my knee.
Mhm.
But, we'll be able to take her later on in the evenings.
Yeah. Tom, somebody got themselves booted. Okay. Not a temporary boot or ban. I didn't give them a timeout. I know that's what they think they're gonna write. The free speech. I gotta write the free speech, and that thank our guy is not letting me have my free speech. This is not a free speech platform. Okay. And
And if you don't know that, you're pretty ignorant.
yeah. Don't claim First Amendment rights in my comment section. If you're an asshole, you're an asshole. And if you're a troll, you're a troll. Yes, Tom, allegedly. The parasocial audience is here, one of our favorite Canadians.
All right.
Of course, we have said it before, we'll say it again. Find a handle and keep to it. Just although thankfully you keep the same image because it's been confusing. Not everybody can, but he is saying "Hail Lord Zeno." So we know who it is. Yes, we can all scream Yahtzee, 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 pick on the Nazi.
The hotsy totsy, that is.
Oh, Tom, I don't really know to a certainty until I get the email from a certain Reich. She is promising a full folder of evidence.
Uh-huh.
TXG, my doc, who doesn't like prescribing meds, put me on a low carb diet and has done wonders. I have other stuff I need to work on, but slowly things are working out.
That's great.
I mean, I do watch my carbs. I do buy a lot of keto stuff, but
we've never ever.
I've never done an Atkins
counted
carbs. No.
And
I've
done the macros.
No, and the reason being is that for me, my watching my carbs is for my blood sugar. I haven't been doing it for weight loss.
Yeah, I'm looking at it because I'm looking at the Mediterranean,
right?
Because of the foods that I can have on it are better, cancer prevention wise.
Paul says my doctor wants me to document my exercise regimen and wait for 3 months before he'll consider one of the new meds. That's fair enough.
Okay.
Climbing that mountain. You have a fierce hold of life, Eric. I wouldn't be surprised if you outlasted all of us. Mm-hmm. Meeting in one's life is probably the best thing a person can do, and you have the tavern. Thank you. I mean, I certainly have had health scares in my life. I've had moments in my life where, but for the grace of God, you could just flip the card over. I do appreciate what I have, what I've been given. And honestly, the reason why Rach and I do Gamers Health is because of the blessing we both have. Mm-hmm. I mean, me getting through 2020 with 3 hospitalizations, none of them for COVID, mind you. Mm-hmm. Everything revolving around essentially my heart or the complications. And all that stuff was due to my cancer and the cancer treatments back in 2008? Mm-hmm. Oh, no, 2006. 2006. Oh, my God, it's been that long. is told me that if I'm still around, and told Rach, we both discussed this, we owe it to the community, and the community defines itself. I can't force anybody to watch this, but we owe it to the community to share our experiences, share our trials, our tribulations, our successes, our failures, because the worst thing when it comes to anyone's health is thinking that you're the only one who's in that situation and that nobody else will understand what you're going through. And maybe nobody could understand exactly, but many of us are going through our own trials, our
Right.
own experiences, and nobody should have to walk that alone. Honestly. So Rach and I are very open about what's going on.
Yeah,
with us.
you show up as as yourself, going through these things, and that's what we were placed here to do.
Yep.
And hopefully people are able to identify in some way or get something out of that. Even if it's just it's like we show up as ourselves and it's okay. We're good.
Mm-hmm. So Tom, Sai, I was just checking my email for an anonymous email, but it seems he's afraid of me since I called him and he hung up on me saying, "Don't call me, you stalker."
Oh,
That's
is that what?
that's what it's called now.
That's what you have to do.
Wow. I should have had a V8. I should have thought about that myself. Excuse me, can Voldemort come out and play? Stop calling me, you stalker. Oh, I'm sorry. Don, I personally stop the rum and cokes at night and large bowls of chips and snacks.
Yeah.
And it's helped me lose 38 pounds since last fall. Nice.
Congratulations. That's a beautiful thing. And that's like a sustainable weight loss.
Yes. When it comes off gradually, that's the weight
Yes.
that you keep off. So Tom, so fine, I won't call him, but rather I will call his wife that he had arrested and see what she has to say. Or did I call her already?
I wonder.
Wonder. I'm just gonna put that up on the screen. I'm not gonna read that one out loud. And off-grid Brognard. Hello.
What was that? Was that a
Tom discussing what him and Tammy are doing. I just doesn't need to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, doesn't need to be verbalized.
Okay.
Because I verbalize it, somebody's gonna say Tencor said.
Oh.
And
You'll tell me later.
I'll tell you later. Parasocial audience. It has similarities with the new TSR saga. Why they?
Yeah, it's the same old shit.
Yeah. And Tom
Literally.
Voldemort come out and play. Did I just hear you say that in a voice reminiscent of the actor in Warriors, a movie?
Voldemort come out and play.
Voldemort come out and play. I might have to watch that tonight. Jeez.
Yeah.
So all right, we're gonna transition to
our
topic of the night. And although we are going to be,
are you gonna read the person's request? And maybe don't put their name on the thing.
Yeah.
Maybe black their name out.
Well, I'm not gonna.
I don't know if they were open to that.
I won't mention their name.
Okay.
Of course, it means I got to find them in my. Here we go. Okay. So.
A viewer asked.
And a regular viewer. Um, and it's fairly long, but here, hey Eric, I'm not sure how much you've ever covered depression in your Gamer's Health series, but I've been thinking about just how much the constant barrage of negative things happening in our hobby over the last few years, mostly due to ass backward stewardship of D&D by Hasbro and WotC and their DEI infused products, can negatively affect people. I just said infect people, but that could be appropriate too.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. The reason behind my decision to message you now was because of a friend of mine sent me a picture of the preface from the new Making of the Original Dungeons and Dragons 1970s to 77 book. After I read it, I was absolutely furious. One page of text from a book that I refused to buy, it's over 130 up in Canada, put me in a very foul mood and it has pretty much ruined my day. So much so that I don't even want to do any prep for my next game. After I was done ranting this morning, this was yesterday, my lovely wife asked me, "That's not like you at all. Why are you letting it bother you? You usually just ignore stuff like that, call them idiots or otherwise, and get on with your day." And to be honest, it kind of stopped me in my tracks. And I started to wonder why I reacted the way I did. It's normal. I'm normally a pretty reasonable and even keeled guy that likes to keep up to date with hobby and gaming news, my favorite authors, artists, publishers, etc. But I get the sense that lately I've become much more cynical, much more angry and upset, and I think it's fueled by all the garbage surrounding D&D and other RPGs. The constant fighting online between people about certain games, certain books, certain people, certain events, rumors, or comments is just impossible to avoid. I can't help but feel that it's affecting my personal mental health as well as my D&D games. I certainly can't be the only one who feels this way, can I? It's a bit of a quandary. If you choose to stay offline, there's almost no way to keep up with new products, Kickstarters, etc. But it can't possibly be healthy for anyone to stay constantly involved with the hobby that has become the current state of D&D and other RPGs. I mean, I'm not naive to believe that there haven't been problems in gaming since 1974, but I don't think it's ever been this bad. There's just so much more bad stuff going on than good. We'll address that. Anyway, I thought it might be a good topic for you and Rach to discuss in a future episode. Thanks and take care. So, here's what I'm gonna start with. All right, we talk about this and how this is what's going on in the hobby, and it certainly is, but it's going on in every hobby. It's going on.
I think it's going on in our entire culture.
Yes,
it's a culture war again,
right?
That is impacting. For him, it seems to be like impacting mood and stuff. And it just made me think of how we have all this effort not to other people and to have inclusivity, but there are a lot of people being left feeling very much othered, and sort of like without a place,
So,
and that can impact your mood.
Right. And listen, if you're in the United States or if you're reading media from the United States, 2020 was a horrible year to be on social media. A horrible year. 2024 is going to probably be worse than 2020 was. So, what can you do? Because again, you can just say, all right, I'm going to avoid social media. Are you going to avoid all the YouTube channels? You're going to stop watching YouTube channels. You stop listening to podcasts. You turn on the evening news, whether you're in Canada, the U.S., or any other Western nation. There are sides being drawn, and here's the thing. Okay, just like in any other type, we call it a culture war. and every other type of war. Okay, when you talk about, I guess, conventional warfare, where are often most of your casualties? The non-combatants, right? Those that want nothing to do with it. Those that don't give a flying big Newton fuck about what you and your politics are, or what somebody else and their politics are. Most of us, not my fight, not my battle, leave me alone, let me enjoy my hobby, right? And you're going to see people go, no. And I'm going to say this very carefully because I know there's going to be people who are going to latch on to this and they're going to say, oh, Tankar said this is only about, yeah, it's only about the extremists. All right, there's extremists on the left, there's extremists on the right. Okay, these are the loud voices. These are the ones that you hear. These are the ones that tell you that your gaming is evil, that you're not doing it right, either because, and again, this is a word that some people say doesn't exist or have a meaning, but either you are too woke or you're not woke enough. Okay, depending on which side they're coming from. And I think most of us, the majority of us, it's not our battle.
Right.
So what can you do? Social media does have one thing, one tool that is underused. And I'm not talking about going around and unfriending people. And I say that because as tempting as it can be, all right, and and I've been blocked by my good share of extremists. I'm not going to name them because they're like Candyman. You say the name 3 times, they start thinking that you're talking about them for a reason. I'm not. But you can unfollow on Facebook. Now, what does unfollow mean? Unfollow means that you don't get their updates anymore. You don't get their posts.
Oh, it just doesn't go in your feed.
Right. You're still a friend. They don't know that you said, fuck you, I don't want to listen to your shit anymore. So I'm going to tell you right now what my 2024 has been. My 2024 has been anyone who constantly talks politics in their feed or starts talking politics on unrelated threads from somebody else because they see politics and everything. And when I say politics, that's a wide swath. Maybe people are going to say, "Oh, well, you're talking social justice. Oh, that's different than politics." I am talking issues that have nothing to deal with gaming. It could be religion. Whatever does not belong at the dinner table on a major holiday. And I'm going to say Thanksgiving because Thanksgiving is a holiday that you have in Canada, you have in the U.S., and it's not religious, so it's across all cultures.
Just different days there.
Right. But if you're sitting at the Thanksgiving table and your uncle starts talking politics, you generally tell them to shut up. We don't talk politics at the dinner table. And if they start talking religion, because even people of the same religion can't agree on what their religion means.
Right.
You stop the conversation. Well, you can do that with Facebook. Just unfollow. And I'm feeling much better about Facebook after having unfollowed probably close to 200 people in the year so far. I'm not done. And there are people who I've unfollowed that have thoughts that usually I'd be on their side with, but they don't shut up. I don't want to hear about it. It doesn't belong in.
Well, because they often think they need to argue the point with you, and it's like we already know.
Right. So I'm going to catch up on comments real quickly here. Don, social media allows people to be better jerks. They can use anonymous accounts, access information, causes this kind of stuff. The parasocial knitting is apparently grit in DEI for the last decade. I've heard the same.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't just our hobby. Okay,
yoga also.
Yoga, sports. And there's pushback. That's fine, but guess what? If you want to be part of that battle, God bless you. More power to you. Have at it. It's not my battle. It's not my battle. I don't want. I don't want to be a part of it, and I don't want to be a casualty of it. And here's the thing: these warriors, and I'll call them warriors on either side, they don't respect the idea that you want nothing to do with it. The moment you say I want nothing to do with it, you are considered
You're the enemy.
You're the enemy.
Yeah.
You're the enemy. So I'm going to suggest some things. If you are in a group on social media that encourages, and there are groups that encourage these social battles, and usually to ostracize one side or the other. Like they don't advertise that they are an extreme left or an extreme right group, but then random people show up there and they think this is about old school gaming, and then they find out it's about finding people that don't follow a certain political uh, tact, you know, the will of the majority in that group, and then they get attacked, and there's a joy in that, okay? Because when they talk about mobs, and I've experienced this as a cop, a mob has its own soul, its own personality,
its own conscience,
its own
yeah, the group conscience,
and it sucks.
Yeah, well, what happens? That's why they often use like, the rubber bullets or whatever. Like,
right.
That's what they did during the Troubles, like in Ireland, so that Northern Ireland, so that the person would be like, oh, I'm getting hit with these rubber bullets, and oh, this is serious, I could get hurt. To help people be more aware that they are not the group.
Right. Yeah. I mean that, and that's
to get that self-differentiation back.
Now that's something else that Rach is touching on that I think that we have to address too. There are people who maybe they're not true believers for the cause, but they want to belong. And they latch on to a group so they can belong, and then they feel empowered. And
And that's a great thing.
But a lot of times this empowerment comes with the idea of how do I stand up? Well, I stand up by pushing other people down. That is
right,
a lot of what happens.
How do you say it? Like by recreating the trauma that you had.
Yes.
And depositing it into other people.
So there's a lot of this stuff becomes bullying.
Yeah.
And I've seen it in Facebook groups, and I've heard the stories of people who generally they put out a post looking to draw out people with the opposing political view, and once they're drawn out, then that group acts like a bunch of piranhas and just attacks, and it belittles people. And how is that part of our community?
How is that part of any community?
Well, here, and I'm going to say something else too. I've been told that the OSR is not a community. Nobody said that you have to belong to it. Okay, this is an opt-in community, and it's communities within that community.
If you don't identify with it, you don't identify it. Keep on moving.
Right, but they're usually the assholes that say that the OSR is not a community, or there's no RPG community. It's just a bunch of people that play RPGs. Dude, you can be as antisocial as you want. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Okay? But if you feel like that negativity, what's happening with WotC, for example, I've covered it, right? This is what this channel does 6 days a week, is covers stuff that's current events in gaming. And WotC is often a lot of the current events in gaming. I try not to be too much of a drama child when it comes to it. And I try to avoid rants. I try to get as even a coverage as I can, but I've got my own biases. Don't get me wrong. My bias is certainly not in favor of
being aware of your biases.
Right. But if you are finding, there's nothing wrong with taking a break from social media. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, you know what? I'm in this. and because I'm going to say this game system, it has nothing to do with this game system. I'm using it as an example. I'm in this RuneQuest group, and my God, it evolves into politics all the time, and it's getting me frustrated, and I'm not enjoying it. Then you have two choices, in my opinion. You can leave the group, or you can just stop going to it. And maybe you go back to it after the election, or you leave it and you rejoin it after the election. These are things you're opting into. It isn't your regular
Yeah,
feed.
something too. With this person did a very healthy thing of
Yes.
reaching out to people that they trust. I was about to default to he, but I don't know. This person defaults to, a group that they trust, to talk about this and like ask about it and sort of what can I do. That's really healthy.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the thing to do. Reach out to your own groups. Stay in the groups that you feel safe. Find groups that you feel safe in.
Or just or comfortable in it.
Yeah, I mean, as I say,
I know. Your training rates is a social like we respect
places where you feel comfortable and you don't feel that sense of tension because nobody wants to return to that.
Tom, the paradox of inclusivity says that if you bend over to be tolerant, then the intolerant will take over the community. And that certainly can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, that's up to the admins and the mods and the community as general to make sure that doesn't happen. And
right, the community, the people who provide the channel or whatever.
Yeah.
Like in this situation, Erik provides this channel, and so he and his mods would be
the tavern
responsible to keep the safety.
Right, like Ten Coast Tavern on Facebook, I've seen people get into pissing matches, and I've explained to my community, and I've explained this on the Discord channel too. If you see yourself getting into a pissing match with somebody, and most pissing matches, I will be honest with you, are over politics or social issues. Why? Because social media is like going to your neighborhood bar. Everybody likes to talk. Fine. Everybody has an opinion. Fine. Some people get beer muscles and then start being obnoxious and telling you. Well, the internet is beer muscles on steroids because some people lack that control. Your opinion, my opinion, Rachel's opinion, all has the same weight. And I'm going to tell you something right now. If you are somebody that's on the internet to debate and change minds, I will guarantee you in my first 6 years as a cop, I changed more lives for the better than you will ever change minds on the internet. And I did not. I changed a few lives for the better that I know about, but you're not changing minds on the internet. Not in social media. Okay? It's an echo chamber of listening to yourself when it comes to politics and social media.
Well, yeah, it hinders that interactive aspect.
Yeah. So
despite the fact that you're typing back and forth to each other,
right?
There's not.
You don't.
There's not like an investment in.
No.
Yeah.
And you don't even know what the person behind the other side or is who they claim to be.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, don't take things personal on the internet. Don't. And why do I say that? Because again, you don't know if the person behind that keyboard is who they claim to be.
Right, just like we saw earlier.
Right. This whatever woman wasn't who they claimed to be, that's for sure. So why we gave that individual no platform, right? We gave them no weight. We gave them no authority. Why are you going to give authority to people that you don't even know just because they're on the internet?
Right.
Just because they're a Facebook friend doesn't make them. I have Facebook friends that have become true friends. And I have Facebook friends that are acquaintances. And I have Facebook friends that friended me because they follow me on social media. They follow this channel. They follow the blog, whatever.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that they are friends I'm going to tell intimate secrets to, or I'm going to tell my politics to, or tell my goals to.
Yeah, it's goes along with sort of being able to change your thinking,
Yes.
and really pull apart a situation. Like I often tell myself and tell other people, when you hear some sort of negative statement or some sort of like nasty thing, it's you have to look at the source.
Yep.
And behind these alts, you don't know who's the source or anybody who's typing anything. You don't fully know what the source is, so you can't really put much weight into how much that means.
Right. Flint Fireforge, best thing I did was stop watching the news, certainly, and getting off X. Twitter, it has a history of being a cesspool and of, I'll put it politely, extremism on both sides of the political spectrum. Assuming the political spectrum only has two sides.
I never messed with Twitter.
I don't mess with it much. I stay away from outlets and YouTube channels that are negative or dilute the hobby with their political views.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I try my darndest, damnedest, hardest to not let my views get involved in anything that I do in these channels. And are we perfect about that? No, I'm never going to be perfect with that. And when we have our Friday nights with the Random Party Generator, I've got people with political views across the spectrum.
Yes.
And you know what?
Showcase everybody.
And you know what? We are all close, tight friends. And you can do that with people that, and listen, we text message throughout the day. And but the only thing that everybody can agree with is that, wow, the two major political parties are really shitty at choosing their candidates. Doesn't mean that anybody agrees on who to vote for in the next election, and that's fine. That's the way it should be. I still think back to North Texas being asked after the last election, how do I find out how my and I guess for 2021, how do I find out how my game master voted in the 2020 election? Who cares? Who gives a flying fig?
He might have changed his mind since then.
Right. But what does it matter?
You don't need his voting history to play a game with him.
Right. That has nothing to do with anything to do with what's going to happen at your gaming table. And that's the stuff that scares me. Now, do I think that these are also people who had no intention of ever showing up at North Texas? Probably. North Texas politics does not come up at the con at all. And that's the way it should be.
Yes, it's known that there's going to be a different opinion. Like so many different people, and they're all going to be different, and everybody's entitled to them. So just move on and leave them have it, and you keep yours. But to downgrade somebody because of their opinions.
So Flint says, I love the snooze for 30 days button on Facebook. That works.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was like, who's touching my leg? Hi, kitty. That works except for the fact that our election's in November. and 30 days won't cut it
But
for
I
them.
don't know that it's just the elections. I think it's
It
you
isn't
know
just the elections, but the elections amplify
maybe
it.
yeah okay.
All right. If you ever watched Spinal Tap, the movie, 2024 is going to go to 11,
Mm.
and it's going to 11 because both sides are digging the trenches for this war,
Mm.
and it's going to go down to the wire, and everybody who's invested in it is going to fight it out, and that's why so many people are undecided moderates in the middle. And that's kind of what sucks. All right. I think the people that get the most upset are the moderates, or it used to be moderates were the majority, and I think they still are, but they're not.
But people are afraid
the
to
vocal,
be there. Yeah.
The vocal minority, okay? The extremists aren't more numerous, but they are the fucking loudest. Okay? You have to understand that. They are loud.
And they're loud and they're very insistent that people need to voice that they share the same view.
Yeah. And if you don't agree with them, you are at best the enemy, at worst a heretic.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one simple way to deal with it. But if you are getting to that point where it's frustrating you, where you don't want to do things that you would normally enjoy, like prepping for a game, step away from social media. I'm not saying close your account, but take some time off.
Yeah. And then it's also like, make sure that, for your game, you're providing that place for as many different viewpoints to be held. But the common thing is that you're playing this game and that's what you're doing together, and not there to debate.
Right. So
now we can also maybe for next week do more about the symptoms of depression.
Right.
This makes me think of like a situational depression.
Okay.
And I wanted to be able to, I was like sort of parsing out like, oh, this is someone's reaction to being othered in this community. Not our community, but the gaming in general. But yeah, we can go over some of the symptoms, like what's a situational depression, what are the symptoms of depression, how long, does this go on for?
Oh, definitely.
Where you can say that, yes, bam, this is depression. I need to address this with a provider,
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah. No, we
I wanted to do that justice, and I also wanted to do this topic justice.
Yes. No, definitely.
So this way you can sort of be able to say, oh, okay, here's when it's time to get concerned. Here's when it's always time to get concerned. Like you always want to be able to take care of yourself in these situations, even if it's like a situational depression. Those are like more workable. And maybe other like interventions that are provided for people who have that.
Climbing that mountain, says Robert Linder remarked in Must You Conform, that all movements are founded by neurotics and then subverted by psychotics. It's inescapable. All you can do is what is right.
Climbing makes me think of another reaction that I had, like sometimes like, some of the people that are, doing these things, like making some of these statements, how many of them are suffering with depression and sort of like, sort of projecting that to other people, and leaving people with those feelings that they struggle with.
Climbing that mountain. The solution is always just to double down on kindness, Rachel.
Mhm.
No one expects kindness online.
Mhm.
It's always the best response.
Yeah. I like that.
Tom, I have Eric's back and the story. He is trustworthy and a good person. I will show up for him anywhere, anytime. Full stop. Parasocial, I left X years ago. I have access to a Facebook page I lurk on, but haven't posted in years. Just trying to catch up. Tom, who cares is right. The voting booth is private, and if you need to exclude me based on who I might have voted for, I really don't want a game with you, even if I voted for the right person. That's true. David, in my day, it was, do you want to come play D&D with us? Yeah, come on then. No tick boxes, no interrogations.
Nice.
Exactly. I mean, we were dying to have girls play with us. We would have played My Little Pony, the RPG, if it meant that girls would have played with us. David, my depression has lasted since around 1970.
Aww. Okay.
Flint, I just keep hitting snooze on certain people, like my alarm clock, the first of every month. Parasocial, sadness is rational. Depression is kind of an irrational emotion. It's a rut, but it happens. With the off-grid grognard, with the state of things, I'm surprised Terry Crews isn't running for POTUS, and that we're not crop dusting with Brunado because it has electrolytes. Oh well, if it has electrolytes, it has to be good for you. If Eric told me, this is Tom, he told me he voted for candidate X that I hate, I would still show up for him. Friendship is friendship, end of story, and loyalty is important.
Good stuff.
Flint, I'd be interested to know, you report on a number of topics. Are there some topics, hobby related, that you don't want or won't report on because it's negative or could have a negative effect? Wow. When I was hanging out in my old gaming group today, that actually came up. And the answer is there are some very few topics that I wonder how newsworthy they are beyond the shock value. And I'm not in it for the shock value. I know people like to say, oh, everybody on YouTube is in it for the shock value. There are some that I don't.
So some of the sick content that you might have seen or heard.
Yeah, there's just some stuff.
Oh, let me leave that alone.
There's some
that sick content just could burn everybody out.
There's some stuff that just doesn't. I don't know about the newsworthiness. Being shocking is not newsworthy. How about I put it to you that way? So I don't know about if I don't think it's newsworthy, and there's some stuff that is certainly newsworthy and disturbing that I've covered, but there's other stuff that it's like, I don't need to go for the shock value. I don't need to drag that into it. That's a damn good question because that can be it is a moral decision that has to be made, and it's not necessarily an easy one. I'm not going to say I always make the right decision. Okay, and if I make a wrong decision, or you think I do, I will ask you to pull me on it. You can do it publicly if you want to. I would prefer privately in a PM, but if you want to call me on it publicly, that is your right. I think we're almost caught up on messages here. Don, same here, Tom. Nice to meet someone online with real integrity. Dave votes to ban My Little Pony. Okay. Tom, kindness is a language that any blind man can hear and any deaf man, any blind man can hear, any deaf man can hear.
Yep.
Mark Twain.
Mm.
TXG, there is someone at a con that decided to preach about politics during games and lectures, and I could swear that you could hear the eyes rolling in the back of people's heads. Nobody cares. You're not going to change minds. Okay? You're not. Just because you have a bully pulpit, and I've been told for a decade that I have a bully pulpit and I don't use it for the powers of good. And I asked, what are the powers of good? And I was told it was for political, social purposes that somebody else thought was important. And I'm like, my bully pulpit is for gaming. My bully pulpit is for the OSR. My bully pulpit is for independent publishers. My bully pulpit is for the creatives in the gaming community. My bully pulpit is for me to decide how it gets used. So since then, I've made a lot of lists about people that are bad in gaming. We're almost through the chat here. Tom, do half of Americans think Trump is an ass? Do half of Americans think Biden's an ass? Yes, but what does this have to do with anything in gaming? Exactly. I'm not going to game with either one of those fuckers, by the way. It would be the most horrible game session if I ran a game for the two of them.
They'd both be very hard to teach.
Well, Trump would be telling me that I was wrong, and Biden would be going, huh? I rolled a 20. That's a D6. Exactly. So between the two of them, I would walk away from the game. Off-grid Grognard, just a reference from the comedy Idiosyncrasy. So we'll be back next week. We're going to do a follow-up as Rach suggested. Also, and Rach doesn't know this yet. So the following week is what? July 3rd? Are we 2 weeks out from July 3rd?
I don't have my phone.
I think we're 2 weeks out. Well, next.
July 6th.
July 4th.
Saturday.
July 4th. July 6th is a Saturday?
I think so.
All right.
In 2 weeks time?
In 2 weeks time. All right. So 2 weeks time. We will likely be punting till Sunday. Rachel's eyes just lit up because she's like, that means I'll be in a pool. We've been invited to a July 4th party, and I will be confirming. So I don't plan on rushing home and getting time. So we will make a special announcement, and we will remind folks next week that on the holiday weekend, we will be a Sunday night. Okay? I thank you all for joining us tonight. It meant a lot to both of us. Again,
and thank you so much for the suggestion.
Yes. And this was
to the person that gave it, and thank you so much for all of your feedback.
July 4th is election day in the UK. You got my sympathies there, Dave. We're so sorry. Election day can't come and go fast enough, in my opinion. Good night, everybody.
Night.
I'll catch you all later. Be good.